This is lecture 22 on the chapter vector spaces from the linear algebra, and in this lecture we will discuss two important terminologies in vector space, that is linear dependent and linearly independent. Okay, so let's get started. So a set of a finite vectors from set of a finite vector consisting this vectors v1 v2 vn of a vector space v. Now depending on what is this v, we will have those points v1 v2 vn vectors. Okay, so this is said to be linearly dependent if there exist a scalars alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha n not all 0. That means at least one alpha I from this alpha 1 alpha 2 till alpha n is non-zero, but the linear combination with the vector v1 v2 vn is equal to 0 vector. Okay, as I mentioned, this zero vector depends on this zero vector is a vector from the vector space v, so it depends on what are the vectors of this set v. Now it's called as a linearly dependent for a reason. See, one may observe that if say when I say that there is at least one non-zero scalar such that the linear combinations of those scalars with this vectors is equal to 0, I'll have at least one scalar which is non-zero. Let me call it as alpha r. So if alpha r is non-zero for some r from 1 to n, okay, then by the properties of real number, the inverse multiplicative inverse of this alpha r exists, which means that 1 by alpha r belongs to r. This exists and it is in real number. So now when I say that this right hand side is equal to 0, what you will observe that the corresponding vector, that is Vr corresponding to this alpha r, can be expressed as can be expressed in terms of all the remaining vector, and that's the reason it's called as a linearly dependent set. Okay, so this is a set of a vector space. So basically what is happening, so therefore alpha 1 v1 plus alpha 2 v2, and since this r is any natural number from 1 to n, it will be somewhere here alpha r vr corresponding to Vr, and this goes on till alpha n Vn is equal to 0 vector. So now since I know that this 1 by alpha r exists, what I'll do is that I'll take this I'll keep this alpha r Vr on one side and the remaining vectors on the other side. So we will have minus alpha 1 V1 minus alpha 2 V2, and this goes on till it will have alpha r minus 1 Vr minus 1. It won't have alpha r Vr because it is taken on the other side, and it will have the next term, and this goes on till right. And so we are now, since 1 by alpha r makes sense, I can multiply throughout by 1 by alpha r, and so I get the scalar corresponding to v1 v2 till vn except for vr as this minus alpha 1 by alpha r v1 plus minus alpha 2 by alpha r v2, and this goes on till again you will have plus minus alpha r minus 1 by alpha r vr minus 1 plus minus alpha r plus 1 by alpha r vr plus 1, and this goes on till minus alpha n by alpha r into vn. This makes sense because 1 by alpha r makes sense. Okay, so this is what we have observed. If the set consisting the vector v1 v2 vn is a linearly dependent vector, then one vector can be expressed as a linear combination of the remaining n minus 1 vector. Okay. So the complement terminology of this linearly dependent is as expected linearly independent. So when do we say a subset of a vector space V a linearly independent set? As I said, it's a complement of linearly dependent. It is said linearly independent if it is not linearly dependent, but that's not gives us the exact definition of what we mean by linearly independent. So it's a negation of this statement. What is the what when do we say a set is linearly dependent? If there exists at least one non-zero scalar among alpha 1, alpha 2 to alpha n such that the linear combination is equal to 0. So how do we negate this statement? It's going to be linearly independent if the linear combination is equal to 0 implies that the only possible value for the scalars are 0. Okay. So and you will see that each of these vectors are independent. They cannot be expressed as a linear combination of, because uh, the only scalars which will satisfy this equation is alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n, which are equal to 0. Okay, I'll just go to the previous definition to make one remark. See, definitely, if I take all the scalars to be equal to 0, it's going to satisfy this definition. What does this definition says? That if we are able to find this set of scalars such that not all are 0 but the linear combination is 0, then I say that v1 v2 vn are linearly dependent. So please make the difference. Okay. Now the empty set, well, there is no element in the empty set. Empty set is always linearly independent. It cannot be linearly dependent, because for linearly dependent I should be able to find some scalar such that the linear combination of the elements of the set S is equal to 0. Okay, so if it's linearly dependent, okay, come on, give me some scalar such that which is non-zero such that the linear combinations of element of empty set is equal to 0. So this doesn't make sense, so it is always independent. So let's look at some examples of this sets. And here the system of equations, when it comes to a subsets of Rn, the system of equation plays a quite important role. Let's look at how. The question would be like, check whether the following set is linearly independent or dependent. Let me go with an example. Example 1. You just have to identify. If the question is, show that, then your half task is done. You know what is that set, and only thing you need to show that it is linearly independent or dependent. So consider the real vector space R3. Okay, this is a standard one, and let S be the set consisting of the vector 1 0 1 comma 1 comma 1 comma 0 0, and last one vector I'll call it as 0 comma 1 comma 1, right? So this is S, a subset of R3, because it contains elements of R3. So in this case I'll take V1 to be the vector 1 0 1, V2 to be the vector 1 comma 1 comma 0, and V3 to be equal to 0 comma 1 comma 1. To check whether this is linearly independent or dependent, see the way I'll go. As of now, I cannot conclude whether it is linearly independent or dependent. We need to check it out, so I won't start with the claim. I'll just start with the linear combination. I'll start with any scalars with the linear combination to be equal to 0. Let's see how do we convert this, into the system of equation. That's a crucial part to observe. So let alpha 1 v1 plus alpha 2 v2 plus alpha n v alpha 3 v3, since there are only three vectors, to be equal to 0. Okay, for some alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha 3 belongs to R. Okay, for in fact any alpha. So in fact I should have started with alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha 3 in R. Okay, let me set it in that way. Let alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha 3 in R such that alpha 1 v1 plus alpha 2 v2 plus alpha 3 v3 is equal to 0. Let's try to understand basically what this means, what exactly we need to show. So if I show that the only possible values for alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha 3 uh, for this equation is equal to 0, that means the given set is linearly independent. If I can produce a tuple, say alpha 1 comma alpha 2 comma alpha 3, which is non-zero, that means at least one scalar is non-zero, but the linear combination is equal to 0, then we say that the given set is linearly dependent. It's very easy, I mean, because ultimately you will convert it into a system of equation, and with the variable as alpha 1 alpha 2 and alpha 3, because that's your unknown. Okay, so let's write down this. What is this? Alpha 1 v1 is, okay, v1, it would be better if I write down this as a column matrix. 1 0 1 plus alpha 2 v2 is 1 1 0 plus alpha 3 v3 is 0 1 1, and the 0 vector in R3 is the 0 comma 0 comma 0, so that can be written as 0 0 0. So that's what is interesting. You will get a system of homogeneous equation. So further, if I write down this, if I open the bracket, then what I'll get is that, okay, in fact I'll write down this alpha 1 plus alpha 2, that's the first row here. Okay, so I'll equate the two matrices. Plus 0 into alpha 3 is equal to 0, and here 0 into alpha 1 plus alpha 2 plus alpha 3 is equal to 0, and the next one is alpha 1 plus 0 into alpha 2 plus alpha 3 is equal to 0. I'll call this as the system star. So our aim is to solve this system, solve this homogeneous system, and check for the solutions alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha 3. So here your variables are alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha 3. So basically you are converting this into a x equal to 0, where a is the coefficient matrix. In this case it's a 3 cross 3 matrix given by 1 1 0 0 1 1 1 0 1, and x is the variable matrix alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha 3, right? Okay, so you need to solve the system to find alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha 3. Since it's a homogeneous system, it's always going to have a solution. Only thing that you need to check whether it's going to have only trivial solution, that is the unique solution 0 comma 0 comma 0, or it may have a non-trivial solution, whether it has a non-trivial solution. So let's look for that. So for that I need to consider the augmented matrix. Augmented matrix is given by, in this case it's same as A, 1 0 1 1 1 0 0 1 1. So let's okay, Let's recollect the conclusion of Gaussian elimination method for the homogeneous system. If this system has a free variable, then in that case the given system has non-trivial solution. If we do not have free variable, then it's going to have a unique trivial solution, that is 0 is the only solution. So let's check for this. So we need to convert this into the row echelon form. You already have this one, so you need to make this equal to 0. So the first operation that I would perform here is R3 changes to R3 minus R1. So with that, the corresponding equivalent augmented matrix that we get is this 1 1 0 0 0 1 1 0. 1 minus 1 is 0, 0 minus 1 is minus 1, and 1 minus 0 is 1 0, right? So this is your leading 1 in the first row. In the second row also you have a leading 1, but you need to make this entry to be equal to 0. So how do you do that? R3 once again changes to R3. This is your pivotal row, the second row. So R3 plus R2. So with that, this is the pivotal row. So with that, there is no change in the first row, there is no change in the second row, and what happens to the last row is that this will become 0 0, 1 plus 1 2, and this will become 0. That's it, the last step. So this gets converted into the leading 1. You have to convert this by a simple elementary operation of multiplying a scalar to a row. So R3 gets converted to 1 by 2 into R3, and so the given matrix is equivalent to, everything will remain same, 1 1 0 0 1 1 0 0 1, and this will remain as it is. Hence you can see that this is the required row echelon form, and it do not contain, because it do not contain any of the free variable, because every column has leading one. Okay, so therefore this system has a trivial solution. In fact, if I write down this in terms of a rank of this matrix, rank of the coefficient matrix should be same as the number of variable, and so it is true in this case, and therefore the given system has. Okay, so rank of, I'll call this as A. No, yes, rank of A in this case, no, A star I'll call. Rank of A star is 3, which is same as the number of unknowns. If this was less than the number of unknowns, and in that case there will be at least one free variable, in that case the system would have a non-trivial solution. So therefore the given system has only trivial solution. Okay, which means that the only possible value for alpha 1, alpha 2 and alpha 3 are 0. So what you can claim from here, that the set S is linearly independent in R3. Okay. So with this we are done with this example, completion of this example. Let me take one more example, example 2. Another interesting example, we take S to be the set, once again a set in R3, which is defined in this way: 1 2 4 and 4 8 16. And in fact, you can very easily observe that this 1 4 8 16 is a scalar multiple of 1 2 4. That's enough in fact, because this contain only two vectors, so one vector is a scalar multiple of the other linear combination of other vector to say that it is linearly dependent. But anyway, we will proceed with the method which we are following. So let alpha 1 comma alpha 2 be in R such that alpha 1 into the vector v1 1 2 4 plus alpha 2 into the vector 4 8 16 is equal to a vector in R3. So 0 vector in R3 is 0 comma 0 comma 0, right? So the system of equation that we get here is alpha 1 plus 4 alpha 2 is equal to 0, 2 alpha 1 plus 8 alpha 2 is equal to 0, 4 alpha 1 plus 16 alpha 2 is equal to 0. And so the augmented matrix is for this system 1 2 4 4 8 16. Well, this is direct because you know the number of equation exceeds the number of variable, and in that case the system is going to have more than one solution. Okay, so if you want to directly conclude, you can conclude, but if you want to conclude it from the row reduced echelon form, then we can further solve this. Now you can see that this 2 comma 8 is a scalar multiple of this, as well as 4 comma 16 is a scalar multiple of this. So in fact you can directly make both this quantity to be equal to 0. Okay, so how is that possible? So you perform operation R2 minus, you just multiply 2 to this R1, so you'll see that you'll get 2 and 8. Similarly, perform the operation R3, multiply 4 to this, and so this will become 0. So what you observe is that the given matrix is equivalent to 1 4 0 0 0 0 0 0 0. So in this case, this is the required row echelon form, and in this case you can see that there is only one leading one, and therefore the rank of this matrix is same as 1, which is strictly less than the number of unknowns. What are the number of unknowns? 2. Okay. Okay, and in fact you can see that corresponding to this you have a free variable, corresponding to this column you have a free variable. So this is enough to say that the given system star has a non-trivial solution. That means I can find, other than 0 comma 0, I can find a solution other than 0 comma 0 which satisfies the given system, which becomes a non-zero solution. So we have a choice alpha 1 alpha 2, both non-zero, but a scalar, but alpha 1 v1 plus alpha 2 v2 is equal to 0. Therefore system star has have non-zero solution, and therefore I can conclude that S is linearly dependent. Okay. Well, let's change the vector space, and this becomes V equal to Rn becomes a general vector space. You can consider V as a set of a polynomial, you can consider V as a set of a sequences. Okay, V can be a set of a matrices, and as you change the V, your subsets of S in that V also changes. So again, with respect to, maybe with the help of the similar idea, by converting everything to the system of equation, you can check whether the given set is linearly independent or dependent, right? So let's look at one more example here, uh, by taking Vs pk of x. Now this is a set of set of polynomials whose degree is less than or equal to k, and we have proved that it satisfy all the axioms of vector spaces, and therefore it's a vector space. Now the set which we will be considering definitely is going to be a subset of, so I'll take S to be same as I'll take a simple one. First of all, I'll define a polynomial in this way. Let me take it as pi of x as x raised to I going from 0 to. Now you can note that this each of this pi of x belongs to pk of x, this set V, because it's a vector, because each I gives us the polynomial whose degree is less than or equal to k. For I equal to 0, we get a constant polynomial whose degree is equal to 0, and so it is less than or equal to. Then x I equal to 1, we get x raised to 1, and so on. I equal to k, we get x raised to k, a simple function of x, a simple polynomial of x. So a set consisting this vector, that is p naught, p1 till pk, is linearly independent. Or the question is, show that this is linearly independent. This is again, once again, very easy to observe. So solution, let there be a k plus 1 scalar, because there are k plus 1 entries in this S. We are starting from P naught to Pk. So P1 to Pk becomes k elements, and in addition to that we have P naught, so that becomes k plus 1. So suppose corresponding to this P naught P1 till Pk, I take alpha naught alpha 1 till alpha k, such that the linear combinations, that is alpha naught P naught plus alpha 1 P1, and this goes on till alpha k Pk, is equal to, now the zero vector in this case is a zero polynomial. Zero polynomial is the zero function, which means that for every x, this 0 of x is equal to 0. Okay, a polynomial, right? So if I evaluate this again at every point x, then this also will be hold. I mean, that's a definition, right? So therefore we should have alpha naught p naught of x plus alpha 1 p1 of x. X is simply the variable, so equal to 0, which means that alpha naught, this is nothing but 1 plus alpha 1 x raised to 1, and this goes on till alpha k x raised to k is equal to 0. Now this 0 can be written as 0 into 1 plus 0 into x raised to 1 plus 0 into x square, and so on. So since on the left hand side we have a polynomial, on the right hand side we are expecting to have a polynomial, then only we can equate it, right? So that polynomial is nothing but this polynomial, and you can now actually compare the coefficient of each x raised to I. So when I is equal to 0, you get a coefficient of x raised to 0. This one can be actually written as x raised to 0, and if you want, here also this is alpha naught, so alpha naught is equal to 0, alpha 1 is also equal to 0, and this goes on till alpha k is equal to 0. That's enough to say that uh, the set of p i's, where I is running from 0 to k, are linearly independent. Also take a note that this S contain k plus 1 elements. Okay, so therefore by comparing coefficient of each x raised to I, we have alpha naught equal to 0, alpha 1 equal to 0, and this goes on till alpha k equal to 0. Hence I say that the set S is a set S of Pk of x is linearly independent. Well, we can have many more examples. I would advise you to go through the textbook and you know see some more examples. One important note: if I consider the vector space Rn over R, or a real vector space, this is a general vector space, a standard vector space, then the set consisting the vector e1, e2 and en, these are the standard vectors in Rn. Now what are the rules of this e1? I will tell you. Is linearly independent, where this ei stands for the vector whose ith coordinate is equal to 1 and rest all the coordinates are 0. Standard vector in Rn. This is a vector in Rn. So if n is equal to 3, then e1, there will be e1, e2 and e3 only. E1 would be 1 0 0, E2 will be 0 1 0 and E3 will be 0 0 1. Okay. This is the ith coordinate. Okay. So you can check this out. It's very simple because the augmented matrix which you will be getting itself is the identity matrix with the zero zero column added, and so the rank of this matrix is going to be n, which would be same as the number of unknowns, and therefore the given system is going to have a unique zero solution. Therefore this becomes linearly independent set. Okay. Well, for an exercise or for a homework, there are problems for you. The question is, which of the following subsets of the respective vector space are linearly independent or linearly dependent. Okay. The first one, from R3, I'll take minus 1, 1, 1 and 1 comma minus 1 comma 1, 1 comma plus 1 comma minus 1. Okay. This is a subset of R3. So the vector space here is R3. Second one, x square minus x plus 3 comma 2x square plus x plus 5, x square plus 5x plus 1. There are three elements in this set. The first one is x square minus x plus 3, the second one is 2x square plus x plus 5, x square plus 5x plus 1, and you can observe that all three are polynomial and none of this are exceeding the degree 2. So this are the subset of P2 of x. Same way, one more example, if I take x square x plus 1 and the last is 1 minus x square. Check whether these are linearly independent or dependent. Okay, so with this exercise I end up this session. Difficulties can be solved during online interaction. Thank you very much.